My name is Hannah, and this is my year of less stuff. Hey y'all, welcome to this video, which I think I'm going to call Makeup That I Might Buy Someday. I just finished filming a video about makeup that used to be on my wish list that's not on my wish list anymore. And I wanted to film a counterpart video to that, which you would think would just be makeup that is on my wish list and is still on my wish list. But I wanted to be more specific than that because I feel like I have kind of two different kinds of wish list. There's the wish list, which is the list of makeup and other stuff that I would give to someone if they were like, I want to buy you a present. What's a list of things that you maybe like wouldn't buy for yourself or that you've kind of always wanted but never purchased that I might be able to look at and select from that list like a good gift for you. There's that kind of wish list. But then there's the other kind of wish list, which is like my running list of things that I think I kind of might buy, like my maybe shopping list. So to prepare for this video, I jotted down a list. It is a list of things that sitting here right now talking with you today, I genuinely think that I might buy for myself at some point in the future. And it would be interesting, I think, to follow up on this like in 6 months and just see if I have actually gone ahead and purchased any of them for myself or if any of them have fallen off of the list, like if any of them have become things that used to be on my wish list but aren't on my wish list anymore. Maybe I'll like put that on my calendar for the beginning of next year and try to remember to follow up. If this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Hannah. I love beautiful things, but I try not to normalize overspending on beautiful things on my channel. So if that kind of balanced content sounds good to you, I hope you'll subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So the first thing on my list, hilariously, is one that was actually on my list of things that used to be on my wish list but then was no longer on my wish list way back when I did the first version of this video at the end of 2019, and it's the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. There has been such a saga with this palette, and the fact that it's still even like in my mind space, like even taking up any of my time, my thinking time, the fact that it lives in my heart yet, I think is what makes me think that I might go ahead and buy it for myself someday because it's just like I cannot let it go. I originally fell in love with the first iteration of this palette during my no-buy year. It was one of the things that really tried my patience or tried my strength during my no-buy year because it was released and I wanted it so badly. I was in Sephora one of the very few times that I went to Sephora during my no-buy year. I think I was just there to swatch things. I was just curious. Usually when I did that during my no-buy, it was actually awesome because there'd be all these things that had released and I would have looked at the swatches online and seen people demoing them and I would be like jonesing for them and wanting them. And then going into Sephora and swatching them all always was a letdown. I was always like, oh, it's just a bronze, or oh, it's just glitter, or it's just a blush, like it's just makeup, you know. Or it would always remind me that these items weren't some kind of fantastical dream catchers that were going to transform my life and like turn me into a fairy princess, that they were just makeup. And by replacing the dream with the reality, it would like just cut off at the knees my desire to spend money on the thing, and it would especially neutralize my desire, my just like frantic desire to break my no buy by buying them. So it was always a good idea to do it, but on this one occasion I was in Sephora, you know, smashing my dreams all over the place, dreams of other makeup products, and in the process I saw this in person and I really fell for it. So I had this moment where it was during my no buy year. I was standing in Sephora, I was swatching the palette and I was looking at it and I was like, I want to buy this so badly. And it's funny to think of how passionate that feeling was. And I resisted it, obviously didn't buy it during my no-buy year, but I put it on my wish list, the wish list of my heart, and I was like planning to buy it as soon as my no-buy year was over. And also I was passionately hoping during my no-buy year that someone would give it to me as a gift. I just really, really wanted it. And I felt like it's gonna sound so crazy, at least to me it sounds crazy right now, but I really felt at the time like I wouldn't be satisfied until I had it. Like I couldn't be happy without it. That was how I used to feel about these things in the moment before my no buy. And I feel like I've come a long way since then. I think a lot of you already know, but as soon as my no buy year ended, I almost bought this palette. It was like the first of the year, the next year. And I just didn't feel the excitement about it anymore. I think I was very scrambled by transitioning out of my no buy. I felt like I couldn't trust my desires. And I was also, once again, looking at it in store, and I just didn't have those same feelings in that moment that I had had in the moment before. And I was like, I don't want to just go through with buying this because I thought back then that I was going to want it now if I don't feel like I want it now. So I didn't buy it, put it back on the shelf. Years passed. I mean, really, it was just, many months passed. And then they came out with a new colorway of it that's even better for me. And I really wanted that for a while. And then the desire kind of faded. And then it showed up in my video about things that were no longer on my wish list that used to be. And I thought I would never want it again. And then Teresa started talking about how amazing it is. And she's like the highlighter queen. And I got interested in it again. So it's been like years. I mean, it's been like 2+ years that I've on again and off again wanted this palette. And I'm getting to the point where I just feel like one day I'm probably just gonna buy it. All right, next on the list, ooh, y'all. The Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Wand. This thing, Beauty Light Wand. The Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand, which I have in the shade Spotlight. It's like the best thing that I've tried so far this year. I feel like one of the best things that makeup-wise, it is the best thing that I've spent my budget on this year. I know it was on that list when I ranked everything that I spent my budget on this year. It was the only makeup item that was like in the top tier of things. I'm wearing it today mixed with a blush. It is just the glowy cheek of my dreams. I love everything about it, the way that it applies. I've talked about it ad infinitum, so I don't need to go into it. But the thing that I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy someday is another color of this. I will probably replace this one when it runs out because I like how the kind of creamy champagne color of this one mixes with all my blushes and almost like makes them more appropriate for my skin tone because it's like it lightens them up actually because it does have a tiny bit of opacity. It's like not totally sheer. But I would really love a blush version of this that's just as sparkly and shiny but is a color. And Charlotte Tilbury does make it. There's Pillow Talk Medium, which is the deepest one, the copper one. That's the one that I think is at the top of my list. But I also really love the look of, I guess it's Peach Gasm, which is like the peachy one. But I also really love the look of Pink Gasm, which is the more pink one. Weirdly, the advertising for that, the more I look at it, the more I'm starting to understand like how pink can work and like how pink can be sophisticated and not make me feel like a Candyland child or something. And I want it. I want the Pink Gasm one. And I also want Pillow Talk Light, the other one, like all 4 of them. Literally what's on my list is makeup I might buy someday, Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in all of the other colors. And of course, I'm not going to go out and buy the entire complement of 5 and like have all 5 of the colors and like, be like that. That's not what I'm going to do. It's just, I could so see myself buying another color of this and then probably yet another color later, or maybe even 2 at the same time, because it's just one of my favorite makeup products of all time, and it's the kind of thing that I use every day. And I just feel sure that the same would be true of the ones that are kind of like a blush highlighter combination. This is something that is like really wormed its way into my heart, like a real classic. Like it's going to be a classic, I feel, for years for me. Okay, the next thing on the list is another thing that I already have one of it, but I could see myself buying another color someday, and that is the Gucci sheer lipstick, the Lip Voile from Gucci. The color that I have is Goldie Red, and I love the formula, but I just don't tend to reach for it as much as I think I would if I had it in a color that's a nude on me. Or just even a neutral, even if it was, a neutral, but it was like really rich or even vampy on me, if it was just a little bit more neutral rather than being that statement red. This is a very natural red because of the voile formula, but I just so often almost reach for it because I'm like, ooh, I love that lipstick so much. And then I don't grab it because I'm like, but I don't feel like wearing a red lip today. And every time that has happened to me, I've been like, ooh, I wish I had it in a different color because then I would wear that today. So there's one called Catrine Sand. There's one called Marguerite Jade. There are just some really, really beautiful, some sort of pale nudes and some really rich, lovely nudes. And yeah, I could so see myself buying one of those someday for myself as a treat. This one's kind of funny, the Colourpop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Ritz. It's the only thing that I want from Colourpop, and it's the only thing that I have wanted from Colourpop for like months. And that's why I haven't bought it, because I'm not about to go on the Colourpop website and just buy one Super Shock Shadow and then pay just as much for shipping as I paid for the item itself. And I also don't want it badly enough to do that. It's just every time I think about maybe buying something from Colourpop, which isn't even very often these days, I'm always like, oh yeah, if I were to buy that, then I could throw Ritz in my cart and finally get it. And I think it's a situation where Mariah Leonard talked about it one day or demonstrated it, and or talked about it as her favorite Super Shock or something. And so it's always just floating there in the back of my mind as like this perfect, sheeny single shadow. Although I talked about two single eyeshadows, which are essentially Super Shock kinds of things, but from different brands. So like Victoria Beckham one, the Chantecaille one. Not like they are Super Shock formula, but they're like Super Shock shadows in that they're individual eyeshadows in like a free-floating container. The cheese stands alone. Remember that? It's funny that when I was talking about the high-end versions of those kinds of eyeshadows, I was like, oh, these were on my wish list for a long time, but now I don't want them anymore. But this Super Shock shadow in Ritz easily makes it onto this makeup I might buy someday list, because even though those single kinds of shadows, I don't own any Super Shock shadows anymore, actually. All of them have been decluttered or I've, used up or dried out or something like that. And so, yeah, I know about myself that I don't necessarily want to be swimming in those kinds of things, but the one from Colourpop is so inexpensive and so special in terms of its color that I feel pretty confident that the next time I place an order from Colourpop, if I ever do again, maybe I never will again. Maybe I'll never ever place a Colourpop order again. And in that case, then I probably will never buy this. But if I ever do place a Colourpop order again, I'm certain that if this is available, I will buy it too. Ooh, and on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, something really, really indulgent and expensive, there's this Chanel blush stick. And I have never owned any Chanel makeup. Spoiler alert, I just acquired a piece of Chanel makeup and I'm going to be filming a video in which I compare it to another piece of makeup that I've wanted for a really long time. I got them together. I'll say no more right now because it's coming very, very soon on my channel, but it's going to be kind of like a showdown, like a Glotion showdown, if that maybe tips you off as to what it is. But it's been fun, like this piece of Chanel makeup that I'm getting the chance to review. When I opened it, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never tried anything from Chanel before. I've never owned a piece of Chanel makeup. I think that's true. I think that is true. Anyway, it's not like I'm suddenly getting into Chanel makeup and I'm gonna be like buying Chanel makeup left and right. It's not like that. It's just that there's this one product from Chanel, not the one that I'm going to be testing soon, but this one other product from Chanel. It's a blush stick. It looks just like the Colourpop blush sticks, like Colourpop blush and highlight sticks. There's a Chanel version of that. And there's one color in the blush one called 20. Actually, does it have a name? It's not called 20. It's number 20. Many of you have recommended it to me because you see what I like and you're like, you would like this Chanel version of the thing that you like. And I have time and time again looked it up, looked at the listing on Nordstrom's and been like, yes, queen, you are right. That is something that I would like. I also really like the highlighter version of it, the Chanel highlight. I am very tempted by this Chanel version of a thing that I really like, which is cream blush and cream highlighter in these easy sticks, looking beautiful, looking like a snack in the online listing. And I think it is highly likely that one day I will decide to buy that Chanel blush stick in number 20 for myself. It's just something I could so see myself doing. It might not happen ever, and maybe again it'll fall off of my wish list, but at this moment I have to confess that it's makeup that I think that I might buy someday. The highlighter, I don't think that I will buy someday because I love the Charlotte Tilbury one so much. Like I can't really imagine a world in which I get that Chanel highlighting stick and I end up liking it more than this. I would rather just repurchase this than get that one from Chanel. But the blush stick in number 20, it's calling to my name. It's like Hannah. It's like Hannah. And lastly, this is another one that was on the list. I feel like what do we make of this? This is another one. I'll finish my sentence before, again, asking you what we make of this. Another one that was on the list of things that were on my wish list for a hot second and then got knocked off my wish list back in the holiday season of 2019. The Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette. So when it first launched, I was like, I want that. I'm going to get it. And then I was like, I'm not going to get it. But then I was like, I wanted enough to put it on my wish list. So I put it on my online wish list for my family. And then as we got closer to the holiday season and I was weeding things off of that wish list, I was like, actually, I don't want this as a gift. And so I took it off. And then I saw it in store. This is how it happened. So it's not really a thing where it's like, what do we think of this? I'm now telling you how it happened. So this is what happened. I hadn't seen it before in store. So all of that saga of me wanting to buy it and then deciding not to buy it and then putting it on my wish list and then deciding to take it off my wish list, all of that happened when I had never even seen it in real life. And then earlier this year, before obviously the pandemic, I was at Sephora. I saw it in person. I swatched it and I was like, I want this. And it's only $25. It's so cute. And it's just, I just keep thinking one of these days, I am still very off of eyeshadow buying. A lot of eyeshadow has called to me and I have really not purchased very much eyeshadow or makeup for the eyes of any kind in really months and months. It's like been this whole year. I'm not really officially on an eyeshadow no buy, but in practice, that's kind of what's going on. And I think actually that is the only thing that kept me from buying the Mini Gold palette when I swatched it in store. So I just had to change my camera battery and I feel like I messed everything up. Everything from my hair to the camera angle. I'm sorry, but the video is almost done. I was about to say that I think that my sort of tacit eyeshadow no buy is the only thing that kept me from buying the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette when I saw it in store and I wanted it so badly that one time. But I guess I feel like that's kind of just a testament to how strong it is, this aversion that I currently have to buying more eyeshadow. Because as much as I wanted it, I was like, I could make these looks, the looks that I would make with it. I could make them with what I have. I thought about Colourpop Team Captain. I thought about, all of the beautiful shiny golds that I have. And I was like, getting this isn't going to give me something that I don't already have, except for the little cute thing itself. And I do still want the little cute thing itself. And I do think that one day I might just get it. Maybe in store. It's like the kind of thing I might get if I saw it again in store. If, after circumstances change and we're out again, shopping again. Or maybe one month I won't really want anything else and I will have extra budget. One month, maybe next year. And I'll just be like, I'm going to finally go ahead and get the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette. But the thing that I like about that, and actually the thing that I like about all of these, the thing that I like about this video idea in general and the idea of making a list like this in general, it's this get it while it's cold idea. So I think I talked about this recently in a video about new makeup releases and all my feelings about them. I was like, there are things that are newly released things that really do seem lovely to me and that I do think I would get good use out of, but I don't want to get it while it's hot. I want to wait and just see if my feelings change. And if there are any of these things that I do want to get, I'm going to get them while they're cold. I'm going to wait and get them when they're cold. And if I'm getting them when they're cold, then I'll know that I'm getting them for reasons all my own and that I haven't been seduced by anything that has to do with the industry of makeup. And that's not true because obviously even the reasons that are my own are in some ways intertwined with the industry of makeup. But if I wait and get them when they're cold, then I know that I'm not being seduced by the kind of false sense of urgency that we're constantly having to combat, those of us who closely follow the latest trends and the latest releases in makeup. So yeah, I like having this list of things that I'm like, I bet I'm probably going to buy that for myself someday, but it doesn't have to be now. And I don't feel the way that I felt during my no-buy year, before my no-buy year, about things like the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. I don't feel like I'm not going to be satisfied until I get one or all of these things. I don't feel like I can't be happy without them. I'm happy without them. I just think that I might go ahead and buy them for myself someday. That is it. Let me know what you think. I would love to know what's your thing. Like, what's your one thing that you're like, you know, I'm probably gonna get that for myself someday, but no rush, no worries. I'll get it when it's cold. Maybe I should have called this whole video Get It While It's Cold, but I feel like that would have been a little bit too abstract for the people. But now that you're here and we're through with the video, you know that that's what this was. Makeup that I might get when it's cold. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go now. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.